Alright, y'all, we back with another video. It's your boy Lil Kalen Reacts, and we back with another Larry Bird video. We got NBA players explaining how crazy Larry Bird was, man. Put some respect on my boy name. You know what I'm saying? Let's just get straight into it.
The man from Indiana who gave us an 80s to remember by lighting up a battle between the Celtics
Real
and the
beef.
Lakers will forever be heralded as one of the
Real
most
beef.
saved basketball. Bird and Magic's coast-to-coast war and jaw-dropping
Real
styles
beef,
gave
man.
the NBA the boost it needed before the emergence
The
of
real
Michael Jordan.
East
But for
versus
Bird,
West
with
Coast
three
beef.
2 Finals MVPs and 3 consecutive MVP seasons, some forget just
Luka
how
before
good he
Luka,
really
to be
was.
honest,
They
if
would
you
look
wanna
at
talk
NBA
about it.
players explaining how crazy good Larry Bird was in his prime. Before we get into all that, if you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K22 and Madden NFL 22 included, leave a like.
Is that still doing that?
subscribe,
Let
and
me
turn
tap
on
into that.
notifications to enter the giveaway.
I want another
Speaking
PS5.
of the NBA's greatest of all time, there's always 5 or 10 guys
Hakeem?
on the list. Each carries a different generation.
Stockton Miller.
From 50s Bill Russell to 60s Wilt Chamberlain or 70s Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 80s Magic Johnson.
I would do
90s
anything to
Michael
get my
Jordan,
hands on that 100-point game from Wilt.
To today's LeBron James. Some get overlooked when they shouldn't. For example,
That's the Kevin Love don't nobody know.
and others get left behind because of
That
the lack of
Timberwolves Kevin
titles,
Love? Oh my
like Charles
gosh.
Barkley. What happens when all these players talk of another great as if he was like no other? Larry Bird was lauded by most of these legends because he was one of them too. He
Of
was
course.
consistent, tough, offensively masterful, and one of the first big guys to shoot many three-point shots.
No way.
LeBron James spoke candidly in an interview about how he was one of the few guys ever to win a three-point contest with a warm-up shirt on.
Still,
LeBron
nobody else
James
does that, bro.
His third consecutive three-point contest. James continued,
For young guys that don't know him, you know, they think of Larry Bird as a jump shooter. But he was so much more than that. He was a passer. He averaged double-digit rebounds. He defended, he took charges. And, you know, he's just a straight-up complete basketball player. And
All
he is a
around.
small forward.
Later in his career, LeBron adapted his game to the new way of basketball, which was a charge led by the Golden State Warriors in shooting more from behind the arc. LeBron was
Keep it real.
considered
People like Larry Bird is why like people like LeBron play. You know what I'm saying?
Legend had already achieved this feat in the 80s.
It's just
In
another.
interview when asked about
you know
his
what I'm
top
saying?
three
It's
of all time,
a prototype.
LeBron put Larry Bird firmly in there with MJ and Dr. J.
Oh, my God. 3. Yeah, Larry Bird, Dr. J. Michael.
Shaq had a very different opinion on Larry initially. He said he disliked Bird because he was jealous. He thought, how could this regular-looking guy do everything?
Never really had a chance to play against Larry Bird, but
I miss
used to
this.
hate Larry Bird. I hated.
Shaq soon realized as he grew older and wiser that despite getting the luck of the Irish with the Celtics, Larry made his own luck when it came to shooting the ball.
Bro.
Shaq, at 7'1", of course, had a completely different style of game at the time. He was built to the max and used brute force to impose his will on the defense and rack up the points, blocks, and rebounds.
Give me
Shaq
that
was
snag.
also faster than most give him credit for, particularly in the
Scott
early part of
Skiles?
his career.
Now the Magic with a final shot chance. O'Neal runs the floor, takes it all the way.
Kids don't know about that Shaq,
Is
bro.
slow, which was all the more testament to
Oh,
his
give me
skill
that.
set. But his basketball IQ was just on a different planet. He once sank a shot from behind the backboard, which O'Neal chalked down to a fluke following a bet with his friend.
Bro, he shot that like it was a free throw, bro. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Shaq never really got the chance to play against Larry Bird, which is unfortunate, because I don't think it would have taken him so long to recognize greatness. On the other hand, 6-time NBA champion Kareem Abdul-Jabbar battled Bird on numerous occasions while playing with the Showtime Lakers. Bird
Hook
got
shot.
the better of him in the 1984 finals and took
Most
another
dominant
decade that was
move
largely
ever.
dominated
Hook
by
shot.
the purple and gold. Kareem spoke about how Larry might have been the best he had played against and said,
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
People, I don't think people look at him and think, oh, he's a white guy, small guy.
The chubby white guy, he wore us out. You know, because he just, this muscle here, the one between his ears,
Yeah.
that was his best, you know, because he
Kareem is a real older
and
guy,
had
but he,
assists and rebounding.
I don't know, like, he
steals.
just,
He was always at the
he
right
moves so
position
well for an older guy.
on the court. You know, one of the great players.
He like pushing 80, I think, ain't he?
11-time All-Star Charles Barkley, a regular season MVP during a star-filled 90s, was
Another
once
player the
asked
kids
was he
don't
better
know.
than Bird, and he took a long pause before answering, which is very telling.
Am I better than Bird?
No,
Man, that's a great question.
no.
Most great players respond immediately with how they think they're the best because you have to have that kind of mentality in order to get to the top. Instead,
Zion's
Martin
prototype
answered,
right there.
I'm a better rebounder. I'm probably a better defender.
I don't know about that.
He's a better shooter, obviously. You know, a lot of people talk about who's better.
But you have to think. You have to have that mentality.
No, you know. Like, I think, you know, it's.
He don't know how. He know how to explain it.
That Bird was a better player, and for someone as good as Chuck to be stumped like that in an interview shows you how heavy the
pass.
weight of Larry Bird's legacy was. Former teammate Kevin McHale also references how
Danny
unreal Bird
Ainge.
was to play with. McHale was Bird's right-hand man while playing with Boston, claiming the Sixth Man of the Year award twice, along with 7 All-Star appearances. His story of a specific Detroit game is fascinating. There was a bit of time left on the clock, and we had beaten Detroit, and I just scored 56, and I'm walking off the court, and Larry said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm done." I said, "I'm exhausted. I'm tired." Larry goes, "Don't do it, man, because when I get that hot, I'm not coming out of the game." A week later, he got that hot. He looked at me at about 50 points, and he looked at me and said, "I told you." The pair would go on to win 3 titles together, and McHale would continue to tell stories that live on in Celtics folklore forevermore. A highlight being a throwback from Bird's brutal trash talk at a game in Phoenix.
We have a play, out of bounds play, I'm taking it out, and Larry says, "I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a 3, and I'm like, "We're down 2. I'm like, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "Let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole, try to get fouled. Let's just get into overtime, see if we can't win this game."
But looking for that
Larry
foul's
says,
not
"I'm
always
just
good.
gonna bust a 3 on him." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So he tells the Phoenix bench, tells the coaches, "Yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this." And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball at the slot, shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, "Told you so."
Larry's mental game was such that he could just open up any team.
You
and
can't
tear
punk
them
Larry,
apart.
bro.
He would use
You
psychological
cannot punk
warfare
Larry
on a
Bird.
regular basis. Players speak of his toughness not because of his size or physicality, but because of his mind. He would impose his will on the opposition and could force them off their game just as much as he could switch on his. A mastermind at trash talk tactics, Larry Bird will forever go down in history as one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. And in the 80s, that mattered. With players such as Bill Laimbeer,
What makes this trash talk probably worse was like he said stuff so arrogant.
Bird did what was necessary in order to gain that mental edge that took
Oh,
him
and
over
one.
the top.
That pass is crazy, bro. He
James
bounced
Worthy,
that.
the 1988 Finals MVP, simply stated that Larry was trash talking all the time, but the problem was he could back it up.
Yeah, he could back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant. You're just good.
Yeah.
And Larry was good.
Even Werther's former teammate Magic Johnson spoke on the fact that he had a real dislike for Larry Bird as far back as their college
Real
playing
beef.
days for the very reason that Larry would constantly get the better of him. Johnson claimed in a recent interview during a press build-up for the Broadway play about the pair that after he beat Larry in the NCAA championship game in 1979, the most watched college basketball game ever, by the time he got to the Lakers, they were 0-8 to the Celtics.
You had to hate the Celtics to beat them because when I got here, we were 0-4, I think 8, and then the first time against the Celtics and then in championship series, and then we lost that in '84. That made us 0-9, I believe.
And later is quoted as saying, "When I played, Larry Bird was the only one I feared."
That's
Not
crazy
bad
to
when
say.
hearing it from a 5-time champion and one of the true great basketball players of all time. At the 2019 NBA Awards, Johnson received the NBA Lifetime Achievement Award, but it was shared with guess who? Larry Bird.
Of course.
Bird was simply the king of talking the talk, then actually going out and walking the walk.
Listen, man. Retirement is great for you because you never talked this long.
Dominique Wilkins recounts one of the most famous games where Larry Bird promised Kevin McHale he was going to break McHale's record against Atlanta. Wilkins said,
"He got so hot in that game that you talk about that patented step back. He was doing that step back and he switched it to his left hand 3 separate times in that game. He hit a 3.
That's crazy,
he was
bro.
going anywhere on the floor that he wanted.
Is this when the bench was giving each other 5?
The bench was giving each other 5.
So did you get in a fight with them after the game? Forget Larry. Did you beat anybody on the bench? Because you giving 5, he's scoring on me.
Every one of those guys got fined $3,000.
Okay.
Larry's legend lives on because of the greats that want to tell
Larry
him.
Legend,
The reason
man.
There's a list of top 10 players who consistently call Bird their toughest opponent or one of their all-time greats is because Larry
that was
himself
Dominique.
is in that list.
Oh.
Larry is a top 10 baller of all time. His style doesn't matter when his skill sinks the opposition. Because above all, the opposition will
Stupid.
they'll remember the steals, the shots, the clutch plays, and the trash talk. They'll remember the Bird from the early 80s, not from the early 90s. The Larry who stepped out on the court in his warm-up
Look at
jacket
Brian
made
Shaw.
Michael Jordan recoil in envy. MJ announced,
He took off his top yet. See when he took off his top.
well, when Bird did, it was all business. He may as well have taken a mop and bucket to the floor because he was about to clean up.
Why don't
He was
Steph
an
Curry do
impetuous
that,
and
bro?
unrelenting opponent that took the life from anyone who stepped onto his battlefield. The consensus is a resounding stamp of legendary status for the man who will forever go down in the history books as one of the greatest ever players, and arguably the greatest ever Celtic to grace the court. What did you think of Larry Bird in his prime?
Bro, one of these years, I just want Steph Curry just leave his warm-up on, bro. Just leave his warm-up on and just do a three-point contest in the All-Star game, bro. But what y'all think, man? Who y'all think is comparable to Larry Bird in today's time? I say Luka, but hey. Comment, like, subscribe. More videos coming soon, man. We out.